we were doing our fund-a-thon last week, and apparently what happened was you were talking about the Ghost of Yote sales figures. And give us a little background here. What was your stance on this?
So I don't really remember how it started, but I made a post basically talking about how the numbers from Circana are not necessarily what I would be trusting, and here's why. And I explained like they don't give actual data. They just give the places of where these games would fall based off of the sales numbers, based off of the games that qualify and provide information to Circana based off of a certain time period, based off of a certain console. And I'm like, when you start drilling down all these stipulations and asterisks throughout to get to, oh, it's 18th best selling. It's like, well, yeah, but that doesn't mean anything if you understand that there's so much more that goes into getting to that number that it's basically useless to say unless you're trying to improve the image of a game that doesn't necessarily have a good image out there publicly. If you're trying to give the viewpoint of, oh, look, everyone's playing this game, you're missing out, given the FOMO. That's the angle that it feels like Circana goes on. So I made that post.
A little bit of background. Circana is the company that the video game industry uses. It says Circana is a leader in providing technology, AI, and data to fast-paced moving consumer packaged goods companies, durable manufacturers, and retailers seeking to optimize their business. The idea that this is the company that the video games industry uses as a whole to say, hey, we sold X number of copies of this game.
Well, that's the image they want to portray, but the reality is it's not. It's the company that certain companies use in the video game industry, and they try, or at least gives the vibe or the impression of that they represent the game industry. It's like, no, you don't. You represent your clients, your companies that provide you data, and you put that out there, and provide information to, I guess, sell a subscription to get the actual numbers from them for big time investors and companies, things like that. But regardless of all that, I made that original post, and I make a lot of posts on social media. I didn't really think much of it until Colin Moriarty apparently took issue with it and belittled me and spoke down to me like I didn't know anything about it. And it's like almost like one of those, I challenge you to a duel, sir. Like one of those. And I'm like, I'm not afraid to have a conversation with someone. I try my best to go into every discussion with a good faith. Like I'm willing to hear you out if you're willing to hear me out. So I said, sure. I stream every weeknight, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time on my channel. Whatever works for you, let me know. And he responded with, how about tonight? I was like, okay, sure. And that was when I started getting flooded with DMs by basically everyone out there who was like, oh shit, man, you better be on point with this. You know, this is a big deal. You need to make sure this, that, the other thing. Other people saying, you cannot win this. Here's why. He's going in this with an agenda just to clip you because of the stipulations that he said it needs to stay public. And not behind a paywall, because obviously when you say that stuff, it means you want to be able to clip and be able to try to take people out of context. I'm like, I get all that, but I'm still not going to back down from a conversation. And I held true to my belief and values on it, which is I explained at the beginning of this, like, I don't think that they represent the numbers truthfully. I feel like it's misrepresenting real data. So that's where the confusion is with it, is they have honest, real numbers, and then behind the scenes can manipulate it by using it doesn't fit this category or this category, so we can say it's higher up on the list, and we can say words like it's doing great to get the impression like it's actually doing good when it's not.
Right. So Circana is just doing some quick glance at this. They are annual revenue of over $500 million. And they don't just work in the video game industry. They work with a ton of different industries to provide data, books, entertainment. You can see all here, food and drink. They are a data-driven company, and data is a very valuable thing today, right? So just for reference, I think it's important to point out. I also want to point out, look, we've had Colin on the show. I've had nothing but positive interactions with Colin. I actually very much like Colin. I think he's a good dude, right? I very much admire what he's done with Last Stand Media. I think it's very admirable. But it was interesting kind of see like, I see this as clashing of two different histories, right? Colin is looking at this from I've been there, I've worked in the corporate side of the gaming industry, the IGN, right? The kind of funny side of this, right? I've seen this data, I've experienced it, and you're looking at it from a consumer perspective, right? He's looking at it from a professional perspective. He's looking at it as a consumer perspective.
I want to, which actually, let me interrupt you real quick and say that's what actually blew my mind, is because my assumption was that the viewers are customers. So I would think just by default, even if people like Colin, they would hear my argument and be like, "Oh, he's actually speaking for us. We actually align with him on this." But instead, it turned into a pissing match or a mudslinging fight, and then it's like rooting for their guy the whole time instead of being like, "Wait." And to your point too, going into the conversation with Colin, I never had any issues with him. I didn't know too much about him. I didn't know him nearly as much as you did. But my mindset was to go into the conversation with good intentions and to give our viewpoints. And I feel like he didn't approach the conversation with that intent from the outset. He just started mudslinging. Just like shitting on my intro.
Do you have examples of like the whole mudslinging and talking down?
Yeah, like when I brought him in, he was like, "Your intro is terrible," and I'm just like, "That's a hello, nice to meet you. I don't even know who you are, and that's the first thing you say to me." So,
well, before we get to that, I want to show. There's about a 4-minute clip here, and this was kind of this clip popped off. This is from Legacy Killa HD. It says a ton of people. I'll just kind of read this, and we'll kind of watch this clip here. It says a ton of people upset with Circana's post report that said Ghost of Yote is selling huge. Last night, Colin Moriarty debated Smash JT on it. Colin argued that data is accurate, while Smash argued that data creates a fake image. Things got a bit heated. I'm going to play this in about time and a quarter speed, just so we. And I know you lived at Smash, but I do think that there's important context to everybody's argument here. So let me go and play this really fast.
But I feel like by presenting information that's a partial picture with a whole bunch of stipulations attached to it, it paints a very fake image of reality that people run with to try to get a W. And it's like, well,
what is the W? What, like, I guess I'm curious, like, what is Circana's W by presenting their clients with bad data? Go ahead.
Have you seen the internet? What everyone's running with right now? How they're trying to get owns on everyone? Oh, look.
Do you understand that Circana's data doesn't exist for the internet, that it exists for the paying clients that rely on its reliability?
Then why does Matt even tweet anything out?
Because they're I just said this earlier, because they tease the numbers so that you subscribe to get the actual data. That's why they do it. That's why they've done it forever. And in fact, back in the PS3 era, they stopped even doing that, and everyone got mad. So they started releasing them again. That's why. Like this is a frustrating conversation, because you say you worked at SOE. Like, how do you not understand this shit? It's like it's crazy to me. No offense. It's like, how do you not understand?
I understand. I don't agree with it. Is my point. I feel like it needs to be more transparent, and I don't agree with the methods. I feel like it's very disingenuous. It paints a false image, and you're saying it's fine, bro. This is how it works. Maybe that's where the disconnect is. That
is how it works. You have to find someone you have to find a new entity that can go to all the retailers and publishers and console manufacturers, get access to all their numbers, and then give them to you for free. That's what you're gonna have to find. In the meantime, there's a company that scrapes all that data and charges for it. I'm not protecting that's just the way it goes. That's the way it always been. There is no territory in the entire world that shows their numbers transparently. There's none. Japan and Europe show retail numbers.
Right.
And they're not transparent numbers. Most people buy their games digitally. Those numbers are widely useless.
I mean, again, this is your opinion that you're stating as fact. You're saying most people buy it digitally. These are useless. Like that's not a factual thing. That's your opinion. I'm saying this is a factual thing we're looking at here. Something that's not lied. Not. This is tangible. It's an actual graph showcasing sales in Japan. And oh, by the way, if
it shows retail sales in Japan.
Right. Sorry, retail sales in Japan.
Do you not understand that that's a huge caveat?
There
That's
is
a huge caveat.
Yeah,
Huge.
but they also sell for Tsushima digitally too. It's not just digital.
Right. So you're showing retail. You're showing a decline in retail sales over the last 5 years. That's
no. I guess we could show another chart showing other sales of other
Holy
games
moly.
that line up with Tsushima. But now we're kind of moving the goalposts. I thought a good argument was based off of the direct competition of its predecessor, because most sequels I think you've been in the industry long enough. Companies expect a sequel to far exceed and outperform the original.
That's not necessarily true. I don't know where that comes
We're
from.
playing through the whole
Okay,
thing,
well,
or
does
can I
why-
interrupt and say anything?
Yeah, you can go stop. Absolutely. What would you like to say?
Okay. So, I mean, I want people to notice just the demeaning nature of how he's just, and maybe people that don't like me would be like, yeah, because you're an idiot. But it's like, regardless of that, he was being a dick. Where I'm just like, I'm trying to have a conversation. He's just like, how do you not understand this? Didn't you work in the game industry? Oh my God. It's like basically the equivalent of, you're a moron. This is a ridiculous conversation. You're too stupid for this conversation. I'm like, that's not the intent. Because that was, to be honest, that was my feeling of what he's saying to me. What his counterpoints weren't making any sense at all. But I'm not going to say, how do you not understand this, Colin? I'm not going to talk to him like that. I'm trying to have an open conversation about, here's how I got to where I am and why I feel the way I do. And he's like, no, that's wrong. And you're stupid because you think that.
Mhm.
And then with the physical sales in Japan, which is the only tangible data that we have currently, directly relating it to Tsushima. And he tries to take me to task on that, saying that because there's been a quote unquote decline in physical sales, that chart is meaningless. And I'm like, but it's not meaningless, because this is Japan. And if we're talking about any region that still values their physical media, it's Japan. And oh, by the way, too, they're going to be buying digital copies of this game, of course, just like they did with Tsushima. And you could argue that most likely far more copies of Tsushima sold digitally because it came out during the pandemic when everyone's at home. So the arguments that he was trying to make to defend his standpoint really weren't good. He was just being a dick to me. And I was trying my best to be cordial. And in hindsight, I'm like, man, I should have just matched his intensity and been a dick back to him. But that's not me. Like, I'm not, when I have someone on my channel, I just want to have a conversation about something. He was extremely aggressive with it. And I mean, I just felt like, at least I got my mindset out there for people to see it.
Mhm.
I was actually a little bit surprised at the fallout from the community, where they're just like, yeah, fuck Smash, he sucks. Colin's smart, he's dumb. Instead of actually listening to what transpired and how he was just a dick the whole time.
Right. Well, I think it's interesting to see. I mean, Colin speaks with authority. That's kind of what he does. He's very well spoken in how he speaks, and he will talk over you. I mean, that's just kind of how he presents himself, but he is articulate in how he presents things. And but I do think there was definitely some talking over, and it sounded a little, there was some condescending nature to it, with how he was presenting his stuff, his points here. But so this goes back and forth. I saw the poll. I just kind of saw a screenshot of it where I guess the people in the chat thought that it was more or less a landslide. People thought Colin's part of the debate was better. Like it was like a 70-30 split or something like that.
Yep.
And this was in your chat, right? So were there like a lot of Last Stand Media fans who came over and were they watching
that's
stuff?
one way to put it. And I do want to clarify something, because I did get it wrong, and I didn't lie. I'm mistaken. And thank you, Nick, in the chat, for correcting me on this. He said Smash already lied. Smash quoted Colin on X, which is true. I forgot that. I'm sorry. So yes, I was the one that quote tweeted Colin when Colin was like talking about Circana's numbers and how it's doing great and he loves the game. And then I quote tweeted Colin being like, well, I don't trust the numbers from him. So thank you for the clarification on that, Nick. I didn't lie on purpose. That's the other thing too. People think that like when you say stuff, you're just being disingenuous to get a point across. My whole brand is based on being honest and truthful about how I feel about stuff. So if I get something incorrect, it's not trying to get one over on people. It's just, I'm not perfect. I fuck things up too.
Right. Which I mean, you fucked up. You've done that before. You've apologized on things. I fucked up. If you don't fuck up on the internet when you're as live as much as you are, then you're probably not being you, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And to the point of the question you said with the poll and stuff, that's kind of twofold, because one, I felt I felt good after the conversation was over. I felt like I could have done better. But I feel like at least I got my point out there. I made that poll for fun, not thinking like much of it, but it was basically, did Colin win? Did Smash win? Or was it a draw? And the numbers were, I guess, I'm trying to think like what they were specifically, but if you and this is a little bit of cope, but if you combine the tie and Smash wins, it was 60 Colin, 40 it was a tie.
Well, allow me to spin that the other way, and that if you combine the tie with the other way, you get absolutely slaughtered, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, I guess that's kind of the idea of what you're talking about, is that data can be skewed however you want it to be, right? Just because we've seen this a lot over the last few years. And I think that's
but also to build on that too, right. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but that was also with my chat that had at the peak, I think there were 14 or 1,500 people in the chat. And my typical live stream has like 300. So there was a lot of people that didn't know who I was, didn't like me, or were just big time fans of Colin in there as well. That did kind of turn into one of those rooting for who we like better over listening to the conversation and taking away who they actually felt won.
Yeah, I mean, that's the internet, right? That's how and I guess my thing is, couldn't you both be right? Right? Your argument is that, and I know that, Colin is saying that that the data says this, you're saying the data says this, right? You're both looking at it from different perspectives. And like we've seen that so many times over the last 5, 6, 7 years, where the data says this, and somebody goes, no, it actually. And what I mean by that is, Ghost of Yote could be underperforming compared to Tsushima, but it can still be a success, right? The numbers say it's a success. Well, you're saying yes, but not as a success as what it could be, I guess. And maybe that's
it's a very partial picture. Like, you can say anything's a success if you take away reasons why it would not be a success. Like, we don't have enough information on it to clarify one way or the other. And it kind of falls in line with, I have if you don't mind bringing up my screen real quick.
Sure.
I brought this when I was talking to Colin, talking about how this is, I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but basically how Matt Piscatel's this peddling Ghost of Yote was great is the same guy that said Assassin's Creed Shadows was the best-selling game line,
right?
That Dragon Age of Veilguard was doing good, that other games as well, Star Wars Outlaws, despite lukewarm reception, Star Wars Outlaws is third best-selling game of August. Assassin's Creed Shadows has been the best-selling video game in the US for the first 3 weeks. All these games are monumental failures for the respective companies, Ubisoft, BioWare.
Right.
Dragon Age of Veilguard, PC volume, if PC volume was included, it would have placed even higher on the best-selling titles chart, perhaps as high as third overall. And just over and over, I've seen this story too many times to fall for it again. So now when we get this one, with 1 week on the market, US sales performance of Ghost of Yote was basically flat with Ghost of Tsushima. It did great. I'm like, no, it didn't. If you look at the physical sales in Japan and expand those out with the same percentages of digital downloads, it's doing terrible. And if you expand that across the world, it's doing awful. So if you just take a specific segment in a specific area at a specific time frame in a specific console, then yes, you can make it say whatever you want, but it doesn't mean it's successful. And I think in the long term, it could actually ultimately end up hurting the companies and giving a false sense of security for the people working at the studios, thinking it's doing good when it's not. So there are a lot of factors that play into this that I feel like are being ignored, just so people can just be like, it's doing great, and you're wrong because you said it's not doing great, which in a weird way is kind of what this is all about, is having fun with talking about it.
So after you guys talk about it, you guys getting a little spat online. You guys kind of go at each other, and let's see, we have this person over here. I'm just kind of pulling up some random tweets that were out there. You had talked about how you were glad he came on, and this guy says, "Wow, Smash still crashing out over his thumping." by Colin.
So interesting fun fact about this guy who posted this and tagged Colin is I have him blocked for like coming at me and personal attacks for a while. Like to me, it's someone who is not, we'll say, ideologically aligned with my outlook on life. And you could argue that is someone that is someone politically leaning a different direction than me, will say.
Sure.
And I find it curious that Colin starts off our conversation saying he's a conservative, yet when you look at who he quote tweets, who he follows, and the circles he runs in, it would be anything but that. And you could argue, oh no, he just sees people from all aspects of politics and things like that. Sure, but that's not what I've been seeing. It just strikes me as someone who's just being disingenuous. That's my feeling on the situation, though. And people get mad at me for having vibes and being honest about how I feel about it. That's how I feel. I'm not going to lie about it.
Well, you're talking about kind of the mudslinging here, and Colin actually, Blabs, this is kind of what you were asking about. The kind of the quote tweet here says, Colin said, "It's not surprising, is it? When you're a tourist who doesn't really play many games or know much about the industry that creates them, you're reduced to whatever this is. I'm truly grateful I don't have to make content for vegetables. It must be absolutely
right." But did you not start off by calling him a shill first before any of this happened?
I don't recall doing that, honestly. I may have, but I do not recall specifically doing that.
And did you or did you not keep, I feel like I'm interrogating here. Sorry. Did you have Colin backstage for 17 minutes before you brought him on in an intro?
No, but I'm really glad you brought that up, because that is one of those misnomers that's getting tossed around right now, and it's extremely frustrating. So behind the scenes, I set up the conversation with Colin in DMs. And he said, "What time do you want me there?" I said 8:15 p.m. Pacific time, because of my intro and my start. I want to do the welcomes and everything like that. He's like, "Cool." So we agreed on 8:15. So I start my stream at 8 o'clock, like I always do, play the intro. That's about 9 minutes or so, get into the hellos and the welcomes. And Colin joined in about 8:13 p.m. Pacific time while I was doing the super chat reading. And I said, "Oh, I see Colin in the back room. So I'm just going to fly through these and we'll bring him in." And I believe I even brought him in 8:14, like a minute early. And then I saw the fallout from that. People are like, because Colin came in bitching about his intro, that Smash was trying to do some sort of power play to hold one over him to make him sit there and wait. I'm like, no, he wasn't sitting there and waiting. And it was kind of like dick of him to shit on my intro when he wasn't even there, to give people the impression that I was making him sit there and wait through it. I'm like, no, I told you 8:15. I told you this is the time we're going to have you on. He agreed to it, had no issues with that. And then all of a sudden it was an issue because he had to sit through an intro. I'm like, this is the time we said we'd have you on, and I had you on at that time. So I feel like it was pretty disingenuous. And there are people that are running with that, like I was making them sit there. Like, no, I didn't. So.
Okay.
So, what was interesting though was kind of how, like, it felt, looking from the outside in, as somebody who wasn't there for this live thing, but I was just kind of seeing the rubble that has been spread from this dust up. After this, Colin, he called you the tourist, right? Called, I'm guessing, the audience vegetables, which I think that's not the best, right? By any means. But this person here responded, and this is
who is this person, Craig?
This person is this person.
No, that's Blabs. Oh wait.
This is the
waitress.
The waitress. I think that's the best way to say it. Yes, the waitress, who we'd like to welcome her to all of our clips. It's great to see you. Thank you for watching, by the way. I'm sure you're going
drop
to
the lawsuit. Go ahead.
So yes, you're being sued by the waitress, and so she chimes in, and I can't even see it because I guess she's limited the post here, but the long and short is she's like, "Oh, it'd be great to talk to you, Colin," right? Which, as opportunists find, they just slide on it. By the way, it'd be great to talk to you. By the way, I'm suing this person. Just want to throw that there. And Colin was like, hey, I'd love to. And the irony here is that Colin has reached out in the past. I was bummed you didn't accept my invite some months ago, right? To where I think it speaks a lot to the waitress's motivations when she wants to speak to you when it comes to, you know, this little dust up that she's having with, or that you're having with Colin right here. And she wants to kind of pop on there. So
Hey, I got it, by the way, if you want to share my screen.
oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's see.
So this is her. She says, let's chat. And Colin responds, I'd love to. I was bummed you didn't accept my invite some months ago. I don't think we agree on much, but I know we could have a very fruitful and interesting conversation that a lot of people would enjoy. Email me your thoughts whenever you'd like, which I have a lot to say about this, but before I even get to that, I don't think we'd agree on much, but we definitely can agree on some. I'm not really on here anymore, so I'll email you. What this is, for people that aren't aware, Colin and Alyssa both live very close to each other. I would not be very surprised if it turned out that they knew each other in real life and were buddy behind the scenes. It would not surprise me, I'd say.
I mean, this is just conjecture.
Yeah, I don't know.
Relevant.
Right.
No, I'm saying it would not surprise me if they were. And to me, when I read this, it strikes me as public, hey, I don't know you, you don't know me. Let's talk to let everyone know. It's like, what are we doing here? If you guys do know each other, what are we doing here? It's just a song and dance, it feels like to me.
Well, I'll say this. I don't know if that's like, I don't think that's necessarily fair personally. I don't know. Like, I don't know Mercante. Like I said, we invited her on the show fucking 2 years ago, whatever it was. And before she became, you know, whatever it is she is. But, you know, just say like they may know each other. I don't know. I think there's a lot of assumptions right there.
Yeah. Also, didn't he like turn her down or vice versa a couple months ago in that thread? So I don't really think it's any relevant whatsoever.
I don't know, but
maybe, I don't know.
Regardless, look, I don't know the relationship. You don't know.
I just think it's curious that it's a very, like Craig was saying, it's a very opportunistic.
Yes.
Like you're literally suing me, and you're the first one in the replies to get a story out of this, calling me the person harassing you. Like, right. What are we doing here? Regardless of if they know each other or not behind the scenes, what the optics of this are insane.
I agree with you on that. I definitely agree with you. I think that the optics of her just kind of swooping in out of nowhere and being like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm never on this platform, but I just wanted to, you know, kind of throw this out there because, hey, whatever, you know, just because I'm extremely opportunistic here. Is it actually? I think 8-Bit Eric actually says it pretty well over on X. Eric said, says a lot about her every time Smash has a conflict with someone. She suddenly reappears after being, quote, gone from X just to tell people they need to chat, right? She's suing for harassment, yet is always there at a moment's notice. Clearly, you're not blind to that, right? And I think that's the bigger thing here is it's very, like, you, come on. You see a rat, looks like a rat, it's a rat, right? Anyways, so the feedback I'll tell you, this has been really interesting for us because we've had you on many times. You came down for, you know, one of our events was great. We had a great time, like I said, but the perception you've had a lot of people who are like, fuck Smash, fuck that guy. Right. So much so that I thought it would just be funny to go down when we posted that you were going to be on the show yesterday. The response on the side scrollers X handle.
Can I just say that like Smash was booked a month ago, guys, and it just so happened that all this happened in between.
Yeah, I
just want to point that out. Like I booked
all
people in advance.
Yes, this happens all. Like for the record, we have people booked out like till 2026 at this point. We have an entire calendar. Like November's booked, December's like booked. Yep. We're booked. So it just so happens, you know, like there'll be people who show up and like, how'd you get them? I'm like, oh, you know, I just totally lucked into it. But
well, the way I fumble myself into my own antics in life, I don't think Blabs is that surprised that there was a situation that took place anyway.
Honestly, no, I kind of expect it with Smash at this point. I'm like, what's he done today?
Well, let's see some of the hate. I think it'd be fun to kind of read some of these comments here because we do have just a lot of questions here from folks, and I wanted to read these off verbatim to kind of get your response. Did you see what people were saying about you in the comments?
I saw a couple. I don't
Okay.
see them all.
There you go. Let's just go down from top to bottom here. Let's see. There's one about Kirsha. Fitting that a podcast that no longer talks about video games is hosting a fool that never talks about video games.
Well, I need to hold on. What qualifies as talking about video games?
Listen, if there's one thing I've learned over the last 2.5, almost 3 years, is that if you don't spend the entire time talking about video games, you are not a video game podcast.
This brings me back to the whole accusation from Colin calling me a tourist, where I'm like, I literally stream games almost every night on my alternate channel, and I go through that and explain it to him, and he instantly moves the goalpost to a different conversation.
Yes, it's amazing. We are a life podcast. We are a podcast about normal people and normal men. That's what we are. And video games are an underlying theme. But thank you, random X Twitter account that has 0 followers.
I mean, the following doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter.
Oh, shut up, Blabs. That's such a burner account. Shut up.
They
That's
follow
so
you,
stupid.
Greg. They're talking shit about your podcast, saying that it's not what they want, and they follow you.
Right, exactly. So they're just looking to be laughed at, which is exactly what we're gonna do. Their followers don't matter. Blabs, they have 0. It's a burner account.
Yeah, I know, but like regardless of like the following or whatever it is, that doesn't matter.
Blabs, allow me to kind of put this in perspective for you. If they have to make a fake account to say something, their opinion is void. It doesn't matter because they're not brave enough to say it with a real account.
No, that's not true, Craig. That's not true, because we have Collective Shout that uses those burner accounts to prove a point that they're being harassed.
Oh, we found
by
one.
People that do not count.
We found it right here. But yes, 30 likes. You know what? I'll like that as well. There we go. That's good.
Nice.
If everybody go like that right there, that'd be good. Smash JT doesn't play video games.
Well, this person does not even deserve a response. Continue on.
Okay. We placed an odds if he brings up Colin. You did, because that's why we're here.
I mean, to be honest, it was not I was here for whatever you wanted to talk about. So
yeah, that's true. Here we go. The fact that your video game podcast has to announce your guest also loves video games says a lot about the guest and how he doesn't actually like or play video games. Hey, I'm gonna get on Sam about that, our social media guy.
The fact your video game podcast has to announce your guest also loves video. Does he not understand your sarcasm?
Right. You love video games. Hey, Sam, stop with that nonsense. That's ridiculous.
Oh, God.
Here we go. Still waiting. Buster, no, let's see. When does he ever talk about loving video games? All the dude does is complain about things and has worn out the word woke to the point I heard Merriam-Webster is thinking of putting his YouTube channel in place of the definition.
That would be amazing.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? You know,
my thoughts are Expedition 33 was an incredible game, life-changing even. Silk Song was so much fun. Had a blast playing that as well. I talk about these things all the time. Many games. Chrono Trigger is the greatest game of all time. I'll talk about Chrono Trigger till my face turns blue. I don't understand he doesn't talk about video games. It's, you know what it is? It's the people that don't ever watch my streams. They just catch clips or certain videos, and they're like, oh, that's that guy that doesn't talk about video games. It's like, well, if you actually wanted to partake in the Smash JT world, you would realize that I do talk about video games a lot. Sometimes I don't cut them into videos, but in the live streams, we're talking about them throughout the whole time. So I don't know what to tell people.
What's interesting here is you being called a tourist is people are, I see this a lot here. No tourism, right? This guy sucks. Smash is literally just.
Oh my God, what is that little sketch?
That guy's hysterical. He always does.
That is adorable.
There's
the banana man. And there's Blabs. It looks like Smash is chasing down Blabs right there.
Why you gotta chase me, bro?
I don't know.
Cope and Cess incoming. I'll pass on that. Smash JT is a gaming tourist right here. Roy is simply just out on our show. That's rough. A lot of people
out.
Nobody likes you right here. Smash is a lolcow as far as I'm concerned.
Oh no.
No, fuck that guy.
Well, nice to meet you too, T.O.
Pawn Shop Go says you should Get him to admit why he lied about Razor in his hit job video, echoing the smear tactics from Kino Casino. If he values honesty, he'll own up to it. Okay, Smash.
I've already spoken about this many times. I'll speak about it again and say I was just reacting to what Kino Casino was saying about him. And even in the video where I covered it, I said, if these allegations are true, that's not a good look. That was literally my take on it. What I've realized with the Razor Fist stuff, and Razor Fist is not like me at all. And I know he's tight with you guys and on the show and stuff like that. I do not harbor any ill will towards him. He has me blocked for obvious reasons. He probably wasn't a big fan of my coverage of his situation, but I do that with everything. I react to topics that are interesting to me and say, wow, this is wild. Did you guys see this? This is crazy. But yeah, I don't know what else I need to say about it. I'm more than happy to chat with him. If he ever wants to talk, I'm happy to, but that takes two. So.
Right. Well, I think one thing that we've seen with our show is we have people that on our show that we have good relationships with that they don't have good relationships with other people we have on our show. Right. Mm-hmm. It's not our job to be their fucking parents. Right. It's not our job to know everybody's personal relationships when it comes to, well, this person likes this person. Timmy likes Tommy, but Tommy doesn't like Debbie. You know, whatever. It's like,
what was it you said when we were at King of the Cart? You're like, if we didn't have guests on that had infights, we would not have any guests at all.
we wouldn't have a show at all. Like zero show. Like, sorry, there are things that I don't agree with Smash on. That's I know. Like,
that's it. I'm out.
You know, there are things that I don't agree with Mally on. There's things I don't agree with Kirsha on. There's things, go down the line. And there's things I don't agree with Blabs on, like at all. But it's fine because guess what? We're fucking humans and it's all right, But Smash, I do want to let you know that you are a fucking cancer. Here. This is from RoboCop, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Not RoboCop.
RoboCop, not RoboCop. Yes. Let's see. And you are a great and necessary asset to gamers suffering from the consequences of DEI and Activision invasion in the industry. All the tools slandering him in the comments are butthurt, libtards, and Colin Moriarty fangirls, which may as well be one and the same these days.
Well, I got some defenders. That's nice.
I'm with Eric.
What did Eric say?
He remembers that time that he beat you in Nerd Duel, which was good.
that was bullshit. I want a rematch.
It's the equivalent of telling a trans man they're a female over and over again. You guys are no different than a typical libtard. You're just on the other side. I guess that's us, huh?
What is that? Is that one of those Palestine flags?
Yeah.
I ignore whatever they say after it.
Thomas says, come on, Greg. I like y'all, but please stop associating yourself with people like Smash. Y'all already associate yourself with Dev and Rakeda, two notorious locals. If I wanted to see one, I would just turn on the Keemstar podcast.
God damn.
JT is a clout chasing, drama farming dickhead. Fuck that guy.
I keep getting the vibe of, was it Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean? It's like, but you have heard of me.
Is that what we're going with? We have more saying, why would you associate yourself with this fella? It's a terrible look. Dude doesn't play video games. He just bitches. Guy's a fucking tourist. And he is a lying Afro-Asiatic jade. Oh, is that supposed to be a Jew bag? Is that what that is?
So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Derek Druid over on X.
A hell of a comment. What the hell? You know what I've noticed, by the way?
Yes.
There's a lot of people that don't like me. And when I do any even surface level dive into their profile or anything, they're always like wackos or nut jobs. And I'm like, I guess I'm doing something right. If those are the people that don't like me, I'm fine with that.
They're all well, yeah. Speaking of wacko nut jobs, let's turn to David Jaffe, who I wanted. You posted this. This is pretty funny. Their response to now Colin and David, they're boys, and look, I think that's cool. Let them be boys. They're fine. I don't like. And to be clear, I think David Jaffe, his work in the industry has been great. I know David. I don't know him personally, but I know that he literally hates me because I think that boys are boys and girls are girls.
Oh, what a coincidence. He hates me for the very same reason.
Yeah, we're horrible people because of that, which is great. But here was his response with his co-host. I'm not familiar with his co-host, but
Gene Park, he's a writer for the Washington Post, and I have no issues with Gene, but I feel like Gene is I don't want to say a shill for the industry, even though he kind of is. I feel like he's one of those types of people that just goes along to get along, and tries just to keep all these people happy just so he gets invited on their shows and stuff instead of actually having a strong opinion either way against anyone. But
well, let's see what they had to say about this.
When you have access to the world, you're gonna find your people.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess he has, because he's pretty successful in that world, right? I mean, he's not nobody.
Hey, congratulations, Smash.
You know how much he's probably grinding his teeth when he said that too. He's like, oh, God damn it.
He's like that meme of the mask facing smiling, but behind
the donations were streaming in.
The donations were streaming in, man.
And he was getting like $100 donations, like $10 donations. Like it was crazy, you know?
So if you're watching and you're a fan of this guy and you've come in, again, welcome. I don't know you personally. I certainly don't know. I don't ever want to know this guy after.
Absolutely.
So I want people to listen really carefully at this point, because they start talking about money. And I want you to keep in mind that this chat was set to members only. The only way you were able to talk, respond, or communicate with Jaffe and Gene was if you became a member or sent in a super chat.
Wait, on their show?
On their show.
Wow.
This here. Now, I have never done that on my channel. It's always just community driven support for donations of people. If they want to support, they're welcome to. And I find it insane to take a standpoint of they're coming across very jealous about the donations I was getting, while they have a members only chat.
Okay, hold on. This person says, no, it wasn't. I was there. That's a lie.
Yes, it was. I was there live, and I wasn't. I wanted to respond and said members only. So whoever said that's a lie is probably a member, and they didn't realize they got a membership gifted to them because it was members only. Okay, I was there. I know for a fact it was members only.
We are getting conflicting reports. I think that's the only person saying that it was not. So, all right, let's go and continue.
What promoted about the trans community, but if you're just understand something about certain people, and I will say, based on what I saw last night, my opinion is Smash JT falls into this category. Obviously, it's subjective, but my opinion is that if you watched that last night, you can hate Colin, you can hate women in Ghost of Yote, you can still support every single political take this guy has. You can hate the trans community, but please know that at least my opinion, and most people who walked away from watching this opinion, is this guy is either incredibly stupid or he's very smart and you're being played.
So which one is it, Smash? Are you incredibly dumb, or are you playing everybody like a fiddle?
I must be an idiot, because what he just said there, I'm like, this is like next level thought going into what transpired. And I think it's fascinating just to pull a lens back a little bit more. It's like, big shocker. David Jaffe takes Colin's side here. Like, this guy doesn't have, it's like NPC in the back of his mind, the chip that goes put in the back of his brain. He doesn't like me, ergo, he's going to default to take Colin's side, no matter what I said in the conversation. And I think a lot of times internet beefs kind of just devolve to that. People don't think for themselves or listen to what people are saying. They're just like, oh, I like this guy more, so I just agree with what he says. And that was one of the big takeaways I had from this experience. Was it was a 45 or 50 or so minute conversation I had with Colin. A large swath of people have not watched the entire thing. They just watch clips or hear from people and make up their mind based off of if they like me or if they like Colin on who won the discussion. And it really is that simple. If you are able to watch the entire conversation with me and Colin and walk away from it saying, yeah, Colin definitely destroyed you and you were wrong about everything, and you don't know either one of us or don't have a bias going on either way, then props to you. It's really hard to remove that bias, though. That's what I've learned from the entire situation.
I think we see that with any sort of fan base, regardless of the internet or not. You know, you have your tribes. You know, you see that in every aspect of life, whether you're a Taylor Swift fan or a, left or right, or, you like fighting games versus racing, whatever, right? Nintendo versus tribalism is a thing, regardless of whatever form of
Oh, and
entertainment you're into.
it goes both ways too. I don't want to act like it's just Colin and his followers. Like, no, I have people that will defend me to the death no matter what I say too. Shout out to them, but I mean,
shout out, let's go.
but it works no matter where you are, no matter who you are. It's siloed almost.
Right. Well, with all that said, is there anything that you would have done differently? Looking back on everything with your conversation with him, would you have taken a little bit more time to get prepared, or would you have, I don't know, is there anything you would have changed? Or,
I mean, yeah, there's of course, in hindsight, you're always going to question like what I could have done better, what I could have maybe been a little bit more aggressive on. I rewatched it afterwards, and there are points that he made that in the moment I'm looking over at a screen, getting my next point prepared to stay on point with what we're talking about, where if I wasn't doing that, I could have addressed what he was saying to me and completely shot him down. But because I was focused on trying to bring it back to a different conversation, like stuff like that, where I'm like, it's a conversation / debate live in real time with different standpoints is really challenging to keep the train on the tracks and still move the conversation forward. But at the end of the day, I know this is going to sound really cheesy and silly, but it was entertaining as fuck. Like, people that came away from it were very energized, very passionate, very, very had a stance that they took from it. I'm like, this at the end of the day is what it's all about. Whether you hate me or love me, it's like the Russell Crowe, like, are you not entertained? Like, this was awesome. This is what it's all about. It was awesome.
well, has it been a net positive or a net negative for you and your channel?
It's been a positive, but that's not without the obvious detractors and more people that just hate me, things like that. But I've also learned, I said this in my live stream the other day too, it's like a few years ago, I never really realized that the biggest of biggest creators out there, like you look at the PewDiePies and people like that, they are always on the lists of most hated YouTubers, most hated content creators. And it blows my mind because I'm like, I watch them, I'm like, why do people hate this person? And it's like a large portion of the audience hate watches or just is jealous or doesn't like XYZ. I'm sure you have people that can't stand you, Craig, because you bring people on your show that they don't like, and that's why now they don't like you, because you did that. You platformed someone or something like that, or something you said. So, or
guilt by I get the guilt by association thing all the time.
Yep.
And vice versa. People hate other people. I talked about this. One of the things we heard last week with the Fundathon was people were saying, like, when they first appeared on the show, they had friends being like, "Are you sure you want to go on that show? Like, you sure you want to be associated with that?" And it's like, okay, like I know my, like my only cardinal sin, like that's it. I know what a man is and I know what a woman is. That's it. That's the only thing, and that's like enough to be thrown out of the club. So
I can't believe humanity has gotten to a point where that's actually a big issue. But here we are.
Where we're at. That's where we're at. Yep. I will personally give you a high five if you subscribe. I will not actually give you a high five if you subscribe.